there, guys. We're back. We had some technical difficulties. I think everything is good now. But this is part two with rapper, lyricist, and educator MC Bravado. When MC Bravado comes back into the room, we'll start part two. Hey, there you go. Okay, let me invite you to the camera again. I'm going live with you now. Hey,
we're back.
There you go. Yes, we're back. I was like, I didn't know what was going on, but I think we're good now. Thank you for your patience.
Yeah, no problem.
I think we left off talking about we were talking about the program you did for students who want to take their music, who do it as a hobby and take their music career seriously. And I think we talked about your albums and stuff, and we were just talking about your video Dirty 30. So tell me a little bit about shooting that, because I never shot a video before, so I'm so curious about that.
Yeah, well, the videographer Nick Palmer had it storyboarded really well, and like one thing I tell like any artist is like, if you want to get the most out of your shoot, you got to do a lot of that like pre-planning and storyboarding, the non-glamorous stuff that people don't want to do. They kind of want to like show up and shoot and make it magic, but like it's all in the planning, you know. Like Nick had his shots picked out, every shot he wanted, every piece of equipment he planned on using, like our talent that we brought out there. So we shot that whole video in a day, you know, and it definitely looks like it was a bigger production than it actually was, but I credit that to Nick's planning and to the talent of the people who were involved.
Great. Where was it shot? Was it shot in Baltimore or no?
No, we shot that in Nyack, New York, which is like Rockland County, about a half hour away from New York City. That garage where we shot part of it was actually just used in the new Sopranos film coming out too, which is kind of cool. Like right before we did it.
Wow.
Yeah.
The prequel. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I almost thought it was like, I thought you was going to say the garage in Fight Club almost, but.
I wish that.
That's what I was thinking of that. Like, but no, it was a really good video, and it was very, like you said, you were saying that it does look like it's on a really high-end budget, and it was very well planned. So that's definitely, you could definitely notice that about the video.
Yeah, we shot
it. So tell me,
we shot it for $200 total.
Wow. That's really good. That's really, really, really good.
Gotta be resourceful.
Really good.
Out here.
Yeah. Especially when you're going to be an artist, and especially an independent one, right? Yes. So what is some of the best advice that you could give to an up-and-coming artist, whether it's a rapper, a singer, or somebody that's just trying to get their feet wet in the music business?
I would say working smart. Like, you know, planning as much as you can, budgeting as accurately as you can. I would say, like, right now it's also like really easy to get caught up in the noise of what whoever is doing, right? And as they say, comparison is the thief of joy. You need to worry about you and what makes you like unique, and run that race. Focus on that. And consistency. There's no, you know, people, a lot of artists who I feel get salty will say, oh, well, so-and-so has this, and if I had this, I would be that. But like, reality is they're not putting the work in on a daily basis. Like, if you're putting the work in every single day for years and years and years, I'm talking about your craft, I'm talking about the business, I'm talking about all of it, then you'll get where you want to go. I'm obviously still very much a work in progress, but like, I can't tell you about the extent of the progress that's happened in the last 2-3 years even. It's wild. And it's just every day. Some days it's an inch, some days it's a mile, but it's consistency and staying true to like your goals, being you, that makes the difference, you know?
Wow. So it's not the race, it's the marathon, right?
Yeah. Like,
great.
I don't know if you saw Nipsey on the wall, but there's a picture of Nipsey. The marathon continues always. Yeah. It's that.
Yeah, definitely. So So like due to what happened with COVID-19 and all the shutdowns of all the events, it pretty much put a lot of like gig workers, especially musicians, on hiatus, and everybody really. How do you see like the live music opening back up again? How was everything going with that?
I mean, right now there's a rush there, you know, and there's a backlog of sorts because your agencies and your bigger venues, like there were things that were promised or things that were in motion that are kind of being revitalized now. So it's a pretty tough time to try to book anything of the sort resembling a tour. Like you could, and people are eager to be out there, but me personally, like I'm not focused on that just yet. I'm more focused on continuing to release like high quality content in terms of videos, records, and continuing to build my audience to a point where I feel the timing will converge with where I'm supposed to be numbers wise, and I'll get the kind of looks I'm looking for, you know? Because sometimes saying no, especially as an independent artist, saying no is just as important as saying yes. Like you can't just reach for everything. You have to reach for what makes sense for you. You know, just because so-and-so did a show there last week and you consider that person your competition doesn't mean you should do a show this week. Like, does it make sense, you know, for where you're at? But yeah, I want to get out to shows as a fan right now, honestly, and I'll get my tour going in a few months, but I'm not too worried about it right now.
Okay. So have you ever been on tour before?
Yeah, Warped Tour 2018. I left my teaching job that June when I finished the school year, and we did like 40 dates around the country. That was my biggest tour experience so far.
As I'm trying to find out, is the Warped Tour? I'm not sure if that's the one with Limp Bizkit or not. Who was on tour with you?
Oh, they were on that years ago. I'm pretty sure.
Okay.
You know, like all kinds of people did that tour over the years.
Yeah. I was gonna say it's a pretty well named tour.
Yeah.
So it's great.
In terms of like the biggest names that were on there with me weren't necessarily hip hop. I don't know if you know like Kosha Dills. He was on there with me, and he was somebody I actually listened to for like years. So it was really cool meeting him and you know, calling him a friend now. But there were a lot of like bigger rock bands and stuff of that nature that are on the tour. Hip hop acts weren't really the focal point of the tour.
Yeah. Okay. So if you had a chance to collaborate with any performer, whether they're independent or mainstream, it can even be more than one. Does anyone come to mind?
Oof. Yeah, I mean, that's almost like a too many people question. I would say.
Okay.
I would say Lupe Fiasco is probably at the top of my list. Just because I think he's such a genius with his writing, and my whole background's in writing, and I kind of hang my hat on writing as an MC. So I think Lupe would push me the most, and you know, I think it would be a really strong record in terms of how it was written. So that would probably be my top answer.
Awesome. I think that would be an awesome collaboration, and I hope to see that.
You will. Manifest, right? You definitely will.
Yes, right? Especially since you put a lot of hard work behind things also as well.
Thank you. Trying.
So I hope to see you like live I hope to see you live one day, because I'm in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania or something, and I hope to like work with you in some type of way, whether that's on the educational way or the through the education, or like just on some level.
No, for sure. I'm into it. Yeah, I love Philly, so like I'll definitely be in Philly. Again, you know, playing shows. Okay. It's just going to be about timing. But in terms of in any other capacity, just reach out. You know, easy.
Awesome. So, is there any place that you actually want to perform but you haven't performed at yet?
So one of my ultimate goals as an artist, I would say this is like at the top. Because I'm big into comedy too. I want to perform as the featured guest on SNL at some point in my life. That's like, once I do that, if that's it, that's like that for me. Like if I do that and that's it, then I'm good. Like, so playing on SNL is like my dream show for sure.
Yeah, I could definitely. I think that would be good, and I think it would be. Yeah, I think that would be awesome, and I think I can. I could actually see you doing that. I could see you doing that. You know. So yeah, that's definitely good. Um, so are you making any new videos, or are you releasing any new singles? Do you have any new releases or anything like that?
Yeah, I released a new single on the 26th. I'm gonna unveil the title and the art and all that soon. But August, not July. I should clarify, not July 26th, August 26th. Um,
Okay.
Early August, I'm putting a new video out for a song called Clout. Um,
Clout.
yeah, that was on the Living Game album. That video is gonna piss some people off, but that's what I'm trying to do anyway with it. So we'll see how the
Oh
certain
wow, you
pot
have to
here.
watch out for that.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm definitely gonna be tuning into that just because of what you just said right there.
And it's just funny because I'm gonna follow that with a record called Warped Tour Diary. I got a video for that too, and that captures my time on Warped Tour because directly prior to jumping on tour, one of my best friends passed away, and then when I was on tour, a second one did, and I was just like going through it, and I was around all these people who, quite frankly, I didn't know, and I was in close quarters with them, and I was real kind of a dick. Like I was really shut down and kind of just trying to go through it and get done what I had to get done. But the record is about how those people became my friends and coping, and so we're gonna ruffle the feathers, and then we're gonna, we'll hit them with something that's, really from the heart kind of thing. And I got freestyle videos coming too. I'm always doing those, so I got 2 or 3 more of those coming before summer's over.
Okay, well, I want to tell you, I'm sorry for your loss for your two friends. Definitely.
I appreciate that.
I'm definitely. I also wanted to talk. I also wanted to ask you about your EPE mixer in 2019 that you did with an artist named Nitty Scott. Could you tell me a little bit about that?
Oh yeah, Nitty Scott was on so originally she was on my album Hip Hop Asterisks, and the record was called Unfiltered. She was on that. Real Deal was on that, and really it was about image and social media and people trying to conform to what they're told is beauty, and the filters and the manipulating body image because that's what people say you're supposed to do, but how that could lead to you kind of being a shell of yourself,
Yeah.
And we've remixed that on that Zemer EP and put an updated version of the record on there. But yeah, Nitty Scott is, obviously a fire artist, like one of my favorite female MCs, really MCs in general. So that was dope.
Awesome, awesome. So this is normally the time in my interview when I ask the guests if they have any questions for me. If they do, they do. If they don't, that's fine too.
Sure. I would say, tell me, I saw the hip hop historian thing or the music historian thing. Could you tell me more about that?
Okay, so I graduated from Community College of Philadelphia in 2018 with an associate's degree in music vocal performance, right? And I go to get my bachelor's in to pursue my bachelor's in music vocal performance too. I get accepted into Westchester U of A and also Temple University. I picked Temple University, become a jazz vocal major.
Oh, wow.
And I stay there for about 3 semesters, 2.5 to 3 semesters, and then I left to go on and pursue my career. And through that, I was supposed to be on a record label, and after I got finished making some songs, they told me they no longer wanted me. So I had to go through that, and then I start learning more and more about what's going on with music, what's going on behind the scenes and stuff like that. And since I was young, I always loved music history, right? And I noticed that a lot of people, or shall I say, a lot of music industry until now does not talk about hip hop and rap history. But I also am very interested or know a nice amount about jazz history as well. Both of these histories, I look at it, are connected a lot to African Americans.
Yeah.
Especially jazz and especially hip hop. And there's a lot of similarities in jazz and in hip hop from going to school for jazz. So that's like pretty much the music historian thing. So I just love music history, all music history. I've even dove into like some rock music history too, but all music history I love.
I have two questions to jump off that. One, does it bother you that a lot of I feel at least from my grasp of hip hop history, I feel up until the last 5-6 years, any of us recognize this as a rite of passage and like recognize and appreciate the people who came before. Does it bother you that it seems like this latest generation is like kind of the first one that a lot of them seem to have no clue?
So what I think about that is a really, really good question. So I can tell I would really like talking to you more and more about music, about music history. So that question gets me to when I went to school for music, we would talk about every kind of music history except for like hip hop, except for rap. Like, so, and it's very, very interesting how it came to be. So first, a lot of schools and a lot of places need to talk about it more. And as far as the newer generation not paying like homage to their quote unquote, what shall I say, forefathers, hip hop or rap forefathers. Yeah. I think it has something to do with the music industry, right? Everybody wants to get signed. Everybody wants to get money to fund their career. And what's happening is that culture is pushing the music scene, not the actual artist pushing the culture. So we all fall in suit, and we all fall in suit because if you don't sound like this, you're most likely not going to get the financial backing from a large music institution. You know, so I think that has a lot to do with it. But I do think that it does. It is very important to learn about who was before you, especially in your genre of music. In fact, any genre of music. I think it's important for you to know a lot about just music in general, but especially the kind of genre you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's what you said. I think you brought up an amazing point. I think it's that, and I also think it's so easy to access surface level information now that it's like, okay, I'm cool with this. You know what I mean? And there's not as much of a deep dive happening. Like, whereas before you had to do more of that deep dive in your own research. My next question, with the jazz background, are there any producers like that in hip hop that you gravitate towards that you feel like show off a jazz sensibility maybe more than most?
Well, I think so let me see. I will say when I was listening to Kendrick Lamar's song, and I think it's called All Right. Yeah. And I'm listening to him with like a funky saxophone solo. And one of my teachers was telling me that, you know, Kendrick Lamar also had like, had to talk to another jazz person for using like a jazz sample before that in one of his earlier projects or whatever. So I think it's more so certain artists use what shall I say? Use historical figures in jazz a lot, even R&B artists, to pay homage or to give their songs a richer sound, I hope I'm answering that question right, because my mom actually grew up next door to the legendary Lee Morgan and his brother and his mother, who's the trumpeter, who's a famous Philadelphia trumpeter. Oh, wow. He's one of my favorite trumpeters. So I really love talking about history like this. See, like we could go, you don't want to know what talking about that, but there's a lot of dots that needs to be connected to jazz history and actually hip hop history, because there's certain formulas that you can use doing that and doing that both. You know, like. Yeah. I hope I answered that right.
You did. I feel like I'm like flipping this interview right now, which I don't want to do too much. But
I love it though. I love it.
But in terms of us working together, I'm sure I'll have more questions. But I think that jumped out when I did my homework on you. The historian part jumped out to me because I'm definitely a nerd with like history and music, so I've always like loved these conversations.
Yeah. So I love when the other person asks me or the guest asks me a question. You know, I think it's because maybe like I have a gym inside of me about music history of all kinds. So
Yeah, I want to see that movie that Questlove just put on Hulu. It's Summer of Soul, I think. I'm trying to think of the exact name, but I've been seeing a lot of ads for it,
Yeah.
and I want to check that out like in the next couple days.
Yeah, it sounds very good. It sounds very good, and I love a lot of the Roots work and a lot of Chris Love's work. One more thing that actually jumps out to me when you were asking me a question about this, I actually had an interview with the legendary jazz bassist Gerald Veasley, and I was telling him that I make up like fantasy movie casts for rappers to play different jazz artists, and I already have them picked like they do fantasy football.
Ah,
So, that's just a little bit. I was like, no, Idris Elba, do not play James Bond, play Coltrane. So, that's how I'd be thinking. But I'm sure you have a lot of ideas and stuff in your mind because you're like a music educator. So I love that about what you do and you being doing hip hop and doing rap, and you're also an educator about it because we don't see enough of it inside of like schools and them teaching enough of it. I hope to one day see a hip hop or rap university.
thank you, and I agree. Like I think hip hop as a tool of education and empowerment is just so like woefully underutilized, or the people who are attempting to utilize it aren't necessarily qualified. So I think people there, and there's more MCs slash educators or producers slash educators than you think. Like there are a lot of
Mm.
good people out there, and I'm hoping with my role in the program, like I hope we can just continue to connect those dots and reach out to those people and just get stronger.
Yes, yes. So I know that I could talk to you for I could probably talk to you forever. But before I wrap up the interview, is there anything extra that you wanted to talk about or say, or if you're having any upcoming events or anything like that?
Just be on the lookout for the new freestyles, new videos, all the Beats Not Bullets stuff that we're doing. And reach out, say hello. You know, don't just be asking me to post something if we don't know each other. Like, I get all these, I get these DMs, and I'm like, who are you though? Like, let's have a conversation. Like, sell me. You know. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, if you're an independent artist, keep pushing, keep making quality music, and don't be a stranger.
Awesome. So I wanted to tell you thank you so much. It was such a pleasure having you on my show, MC Bravado, and thank everybody that watched. And I hope you have a very good evening. And
Thanks.
I hope to see you soon. And I'm gonna be looking out for all your stuff.
Thank you so much for having me. I hope you enjoy your night as well, and we'll definitely be in touch.
Definitely. I want everybody, before you go, I want everybody to check out MC Bravado's YouTube. Check out his music on all major music platforms like Tidal, iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music, everywhere. And also to look out on his page under MC Bravado on Instagram so that you can see all his latest videos, his latest appearances, and everything else he has coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.